What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing another business focused video. Today we have a 2011 Buick. It needs a little bit of love in the paint correction department. It's got a lot of oxidation on the top side of the vehicle. We're going to see if we can do anything for this paint, and then once we do, it's going to get finished off with a 3-year ceramic coating. Before we go any further, this video is brought to you by Glitches 3D Prints. They specialize in high-quality 3D printing, custom designs, unique models, and creative pieces you won't find anywhere else. If you've got an idea, they can print it. Check out their online store, link below. Alright, so we got the car pulled into our wash bay. I'll roll the B-roll. You guys can see up close and personal just what we're dealing with on the top sides of the paint. It's pretty normal that this happens, especially on older cars that sit outside all the time and didn't have a lot of protection from the factory with GM paint. It also being a red color, a brighter color, tends to attract the sun a lot more and cause UV damages a lot easier. Now this car, all of the tops are pretty much oxidized, really bad. Trunk, roof, hood. So a little breakdown before we get started. We're going to go ahead and do our decontamination wash, which is just a basic exterior detail. We're going to do the wheels, tires, fender liners, give it a normal wash like we would do any other vehicle. Then we would go in, spray our iron remover on, clay bar all this, see if we can get any of this to move, clay bar the rest of the car, take any contaminants off, get it another wash, dry it off, get it pulled up into the lights. Going to assess what we can do to cut down this oxidation. Most likely it's going to be a wool pad on high-speed heavy cut, and we're going to go from there. We're going to focus on all of the top edges. That was the main concern of the customer. Hood, roof, trunk, tops of the mirrors, anywhere that is oxidized, we're going to focus on that first. Then we're just going to do a quick one step on everywhere else, like all the sides where the paint's not oxidized but could still use a little, a little fluff. After that's all said and done, we're going to go ahead and prep it for our 3-year ceramic coating. I'll get into that when we get there. And then that's pretty much it. So is this car going to be worth saving? Is this paint going to come out any better than what it is now? All right. So we got the expectations covered. Customer knows that we're going to do the best we can with this oxidation. It's not a guarantee because of how bad it is, but anything will be better than how it looks now. I'm going to put you guys on the stand on a time lapse because you guys already know how a wash goes. I will jump in from time to time to give a little commentary, but other than that, we're going to try to keep this one a little bit shorter than the last one and see what we can't do with this thing. Okay guys, we got the car dried off, pulled up. I let it drip dry out for a couple minutes, took a nice break, squeegeed the floor out because you guys know we don't have a drain in here. We just have a wash mat, which works pretty good. Obviously it gets kind of over here, but the main purpose was to keep it contained here and not flow this way and out that way. But so mat's good. Anyway, car. Right, so after doing the decontamination wash, this is about what you'd expect, right? When I was doing the clay bar, I noticed that the film was coming up. So although it's still oxidized, that top layer of film that was across, that white, on like up there and everywhere, came off. So that's good. Now it is stripped down and we can polish it, heavy cut, polish, the whole nine, and see what we can do with this. First of all, from what it was to now, looks a lot better. Like I said, we removed that film, that's like silky film, that white film that was on it, that top layer of oxidation with the clay bar. So that was very, very nice. Obviously, after you clay bar a vehicle, you're going to mar it up, and you can see the marring marks there. But if you're heavy cutting it, that is the point. So check the trunk. It's not as bad, but still a lot of work to do. And yeah, so went ahead, clay barred the rest of the car as well, down the sides. Got some of the tree sap off. This thing was covered in tree sap as well. Like I said, this thing sits under a tree outside, I believe, is what they told me. And they're just looking for a nice refresh, and I think we got it. So I'm going to hook up the air compressor. I'm going to start blowing out the cracks for the water spots or the water drips. That way we don't have any water dripping down on our compounds. Okay, guys, we've got the car dried off. We blew out the cracks. It's ready to start buffing on. Like I said, we're going to start with the heavy cut. I've chosen a wool pad with some basic 3M rubbing compound. This is literally just the most basic cut compound you can get. For something like this oxidized and this old, we're not going to burn through any of our expensive chemicals. We're going to use the base chemicals here. So what we're going to do a test spot, or our first spot in this corner here. Going to go 2x2 here and start heavy cutting. So going to give our pad some healthy dots. Not too crazy, not too little, kind of a healthy medium. It's a little impossible to know the balance, but just know it's never enough. So anyway, all right, so we're going to go here, 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 and here, this little 2x2 area. Let's get this primed up. All right, let's go. All right, so we did 4 passes, 2 latitude, 2 longitude. Worked in a 2x2 area. So what we're going to do now is take our towel and kind of wipe up the excess. Even though we kind of did a good job at working it in, there's not a whole lot to wipe off. But the main point of this is to show you guys in real time the difference on camera, because you guys are at a really good angle right now and you can see all the lights kind of bouncing off the hood. The difference between about here to here is about 70%. And here's the reality though, is this customer has already had expectations set that this thing's been oxidized and kind of things been burnt into the paint probably for years. And when something has been let go for this long, it's impossible to return to perfect unless you just sand and repaint. So we're kind of doing everything we can with the paint that we have and the condition that it's in, and it's very important that we set that expectation, and we did. However, looking at it like this, looking at the difference from here to here, and even before we touched anything, is, I think, good enough. And you can really see it kind of, this is only a heavy cut. We still got to polish and everything, so it's going to look a little bit better than this. However, most of the stuff that's burnt in and etched into the clear and everything, we're not going to worry about. Now, another thing I wanted to bring up was the importance of doing the whole decontamination process and what that means. When we did the clay bar and the whole wash, could you imagine that we just hit the car right out of the gate without washing it or touching it with our wool pad and our compound? Our pad would literally be so disgusting. If you remember when we clay barred, we knocked this milky kind of film off everything off the top. Could you imagine getting that gunked up in your pad? You'd be sitting there for probably half an hour blowing that thing out. You'd be probably going through about 2 to 3 pads just on the tops alone. Whereas now when we knock that down with our process, we're literally just getting rid of a light layer of oxidation, but most of this is just marring from our clay bar. And like I said, that still kind of gunks up the pad, but not nowhere nearly as much as it would if we just hit it right off the bat. So hope you guys understand that part and why that process is there. Another thing I want to point out is this is single stage GM paint from 2000 whatever, 2010, whatever this car is. Back when GM does red on all of their cars, it's single stage, it's very thin, and it comes up on the pad. I'll show you guys right now. I don't know how well you guys can see this, but there is a hint of red on this pad. Again, don't freak out. That's just how it is. You got to be a little bit careful not to burn. But with what we're doing with the DA, we're not getting this thing super, super hot. And with, only making 4 passes, I don't think we're at risk of burning through. Just something that I know you guys see on camera. You're probably like, whoa, there's red on the pad. He's burning through it. It's not the case. I'm going to go ahead, put you guys back on time lapse so we can knock this thing out. Just so you guys understand the process a little bit better and what goes into it, and talking you guys through why I do what I do. That is it. So enjoy the rest of the time lapse. I'll catch you guys here in a minute. All right, guys, we are back on the camera. Check it out. So, I mean, night and day difference. I mean that, man, like crazy. I mean, you couldn't even see a reflection before, and now I'm right here. So that's what the light just turned on. Anyway, this place is haunted. The only unfortunate part is you guys probably seen in the time lapse, the roof is too far gone. Unfortunately, customers not interested in getting anything crazy done to the roof, like a wet sand or anything like that. So we're kind of stuck with that. I know it's very unfortunate with how good the hood turned out and how, it looks a little better, don't get me wrong, but it's just nowhere near as good as the hood turned out. So feel bad. The sides, obviously, great, as I just hit my elbow. We'll go walk around the other way. Yeah, very glossy. Exactly what I was going for. The trunk is about 50%, honestly. Towards the back, it looks really good. And then you get up towards the front there, and it's just not the best. So that's as good as that's going to get. All that's really, really burnt in. You can see it really well from this angle. The front of the trunk is just not very good, but everything else kind of polished out, and it's glossy. So car's glossy, and I think that is good enough to send, just based on the expectations set and the year and the condition and everything all rolled into one. So now that the car is all polished and we're kind of saying yes, we're fine with the results shown, we're ready to prep for coating. The coating prep process is we're going to have to panel prep, which is basically just an alcohol wipe over the entire car, or the painted surfaces, the parts that we polished, to Wipe up any of the leftover residue from waxes, compounds, not waxes, but the compounds and the oils left from the polishing compound, so that the coating has a clean surface to bond to whenever we apply it to the paint. Okay, so there's a couple things we need to watch out for before we start diving into the coating. First, we need to get set up with our supply and what we need. Obviously, we're going to want the coating. We've got the bottle of the coating ready, unopened. Make sure you don't open it before. Only open it the day of installation, and I'll go over why that's important, because you do not want this stuff to pre-crystallize. You don't want this to sit. Every coating has a shelf life of about 3 months, give or take your environment. Something like this in a shop, probably a lot less, but keep these closed after you use it. Make sure you seal it super tight. Keep it somewhere where it's not going to get way too hot or way too cold. Normally, colder is a little bit better for these, but hot automatically kills them. So keep that in mind when you spend, a lot of money on these big bottles. This bottle right here was a little over 100. And I could probably do 2 cars with this. Obviously, applicator is important. Make sure you use a microfiber applicator or one of those really small, soft ones that like G-Technic gives you. Something like that, just an applicator. Try not to use a microfiber towel. It's a little inconsistent. Use something that has firm edges, and it's pretty firm to where your contact patch is going to be consistent. Next, you're going to need 3 to 6 towels. I have 3 here. The reason I say 6 is because we're going to be rotating these out. Now, on something like this size vehicle, we can probably get away with just 3. However, note, on a big truck or a big SUV, you want to rotate your towel so you're not oversaturating your first wipe. Each towel has its own purpose. You want them in a line. You want them not labeled, but you want to label them in your mind. That 1, 2, or 3, left to right. Because when we apply the coating to an area, that coating is going to flash. And what I mean by flash is it's going to adhere a rainbow kind of texture, not texture, but a rainbow hue. And that is your cue to buff it off. And what you want to do is you have to buff it off in 3 stages. The first stage, you're going to use your first towel. That's where you're going to wipe up majority. Second towel, that's where you're going to go over, hit all the edges, do a once over of everything you did. Third towel, should be the driest towel. That's when you're going to go around and look and really, really pay attention to all the edges, look for any high spots, look and see where you need to buff off anything left behind. Because if you let a coating sit and you let it flash and you let it sit on the car for more than probably half an hour, you're going to have to get the polisher out, buff off that high spot, and recoat it. And honestly, we're not trying to do that. We want this to be as efficient as possible. We want to do it all in one take. Just take the time, the first time around, and make sure you don't leave any high spots. All right, before we start, we have one more thing to look at, and that is our ambient temperature. Now, why is temperature important? Well, the coating is going to react to your environment. That is what dictates a fast flash time or a slow flash time. Hotter temperatures will warrant fast flash times, which means when you apply it, it will cause that rainbow hue in probably 30 seconds to a minute. Colder temperatures will result in slower flash times, meaning you could probably do half the car and it'll start to flash. We have a built-in thermometer here in the shop. We like to keep an eye on our temperatures, especially when we're doing coatings. Right now, it is super hot. It is about 85 degrees in here. Now, that is because we do not have centralized air. We use fans and everything to keep air flowing so where it's not super, super hot. This building is insulated. It's like 90, it's about 10 degrees hotter outside. So you got to take your wins where you can get them. Obviously, it could be a lot worse. All right, so now that we've assessed everything, we're going to be expecting a very fast flash time based on our thermometer reading and just based on how it feels. So we're not going to bite off more than we can chew. We're not going to do the entire hood in one sweep. That's going to be a disaster. What we're going to do is half the hood at a time. So we're going to pick a spot, do half the hood, other half the hood, and do it that way. That way we're not biting off more than we can chew and have to rebuff everything, and we don't want to do that. We've got a much closer angle to the hood. We're going to start with this right side of the hood. I'm going to do everything, try to keep everything in the frame so as I'm talking, so you guys know exactly what we're doing. Now, before you go crazy, I already did, but I just want to do it again just to show you that I'm actually doing it. We're going to give our coating a real good shake. This is going to mix up all the properties and make sure there's nothing missing, so we get a nice consistent product every time we go to dump it on our applicator. So we're going to be using the gray side of this applicator, and I'm going to go ahead and take off our lid. We're going to set the lid aside. We're not going to need it for some time. All right. What we're going to do to first prime the pad, a lot of people do it different ways, but this is the way I'm going to do it. There's no real wrong way as long as you prime it. We're going to do a box and an X, just like that. All right, now that it's on there, we're going to go ahead. What we're going to do, we're going to start at the furthest, most center point. We're going to work our way down. We're going to outline our area that we are desired. We're going to go diagonal and then diagonal this way. That means when we come back, we're going to do nice even passes this way. That just means it's going to get a nice even spread through this entire panel, or half of the panel for this instance. And we're not going to have to worry about any inconsistencies. And we're going to make sure we cover every square inch of this panel. You can notice it's already starting to flash. So what we're going to do, we're going to wait about 30 seconds to a minute. When you buff it off, it should come off, I wouldn't say like butter. It should have a little bit of a resistancy to it, but it should not be dragging the towel. What I mean by dragging the towel is when you go to wipe it off and it's literally catching the towel, that means you let it flash too long and it baked too long. You're going to have to buff it off. Just nice, even passes with the towel. You're not putting a lot of pressure here. You're just letting the towel do the work. Now, some people say you can only do straight lines. You can only do this. If you're wiping something up, as long as there's contact with the towel and you're not pressing down super hard, it doesn't matter how you wipe it up as long as you cover all your ground. We're going to go a little bit faster here through this section. I can kind of see. Now you could imagine doing this on like a black car or a white car or like a gray car or a silver car, a car that has a color that that hides a lot. It's pretty difficult to manage, and that is why a lot of detail shops and ceramic coating shops, and myself included, charge extra for those color vehicles. Not only in the paint correction department alone, but when we're doing the coating, it's very tricky as well. When we're done, we're going to make sure we flip the towel the side we just did, so that way next time we get a little bit more drier of a contact. You're going to want to keep the first towel consistently cycled through. You don't want one side of the towel being too saturated. Second towel now, just going to do a little, again, little to no pressure. You're just kind of guiding the towel like so. You go both ways to ensure you're picking it up. Step around the camera. Just like that. Now, you really don't have to worry about getting so close to your middle spot here, because when we go to coat the other side of the hood, we're going to overlap a little, just to ensure that whenever this coating is cured and they go to do the first wash, there's not going to be a line down the middle of the hood that does not bead water. That would be inconsistent and a failed coating. Okay, as you see, a little bit quicker on the second towel since the first towel took majority of the brunt. And then last but not least, our third towel. This one, we're going to go a little bit quicker, but we're going to focus on the edges because that is the most missed spots. All these edges, all these creases on this hood, just kind of give it a little once over the middle section as well. Go around the camera. Just like that. Going to make sure we emphasize hitting the edges so we don't have any high spots later on those very commonly missed areas. Even me doing coatings for years, I'm not perfect. You guys have seen on the channel before when I did coatings that sometimes there's high spots and that just happens. So the most you can do to minimize it, the better. Just keep it a habit to really focus on doing it right the first time and you'll be golden. Okay, so we got the car pulled outside. We're going to do a last minute quality check over everything that we've done. Car looks phenomenal for the year. The condition it rolled in the shop with versus rolling out of the shop with. Customer's going to be very, very happy with how it turned out, and so are we. Looks great. It's unfortunate that the roof didn't come out, but you'll have that on these bigger jobs. With that being said, that is going to be a wrap for today's video. I appreciate you guys for checking out these business videos, and I hope you enjoyed it. Car looks good. We're going to send it, and I will see you guys in the next video.